In 2021, the Los Angeles Rams reached the peak of the football universe. Super Bowl champions. A superstar roster. A flawless, all-in blueprint executed without a single misstep. But glory didn't last. In a heartbeat, everything crumbled. Injuries piled up. The salary cap imploded. Draft picks vanished. The wins disappeared. 5 victories, that was all that remained of a would-be dynasty. The NFL didn't just doubt them. It declared them dead. But the truth? The Rams were never finished. Not even close. While the league wrote their obituary, LA quietly built a resurrection unlike anything the modern NFL has seen. They tore down and rebuilt the trenches. They unearthed stars from draft slots nobody cared about. They reshaped a broken roster into a team with real teeth, real identity, real firepower. This is the story of a franchise that refused to die. A team that rose from collapse to engineer the fastest, sharpest, most improbable rebuild in NFL history. When people say the Rams went all in, it's not just a catchy phrase, it's the truth. In 2019, LA landed Jalen Ramsey for the price of 2 first-rounders. Then in 2021, they doubled down, acquiring Matthew Stafford for 2 more first-round picks plus Jared Goff. And halfway through that same season, they pushed even harder, trading second- and third-round picks for Von Miller. The Rams smelled a championship window, and they didn't hesitate for a second. And what did they get in return? A Lombardi Trophy. A nail-biting Super Bowl win over the Cincinnati Bengals. And an immortal moment sealed by Aaron Donald, one of the greatest to ever wear the horns. It was bold. It was expensive. It was borderline reckless. But it delivered the ultimate prize. Them picks wasn't just a meme. It rewrote the franchise's history. It created a once-in-a-lifetime season for fans, delivered a triple crown for Cooper Kupp, and gave one of the greatest defensive players ever the defining moment of his legendary career. The Rams sacrificed countless opportunities to draft young, low-cost talent, and they also carried a mountain of massive contracts for their cornerstone players after the championship. Stafford entered age 34 on a 4-year, $160 million deal. Cooper Kupp and Aaron Donald were also paid salaries worthy of their elite status. Everything was still fine, until the injury gods came knocking. The problem is, when bad luck strikes, it never comes alone. In the 2022 season, the Rams were ravaged by injuries at the most crucial positions. Cooper Kupp and Aaron Donald were sidelined in November due to serious ankle injuries. Matthew Stafford ended his season after just 9 games. A team that had just won the Super Bowl suddenly collapsed to a 5-12 record, bad enough to earn the 6th overall pick in the NFL draft. But ironically, that pick no longer belonged to them. It had already been sent to Detroit in the Jared Goff trade. Darkness began to fall over LA. That was when a series of questions began to surface. Was Stafford going to retire? What about Donald? And Sean McVay, one of the most talented young head coaches, was rumored to be considering stepping away as well. With the futures of all 3 pillars uncertain, it was no surprise that many people started using the word rebuild. But General Manager Les Snead didn't think so, or at least, he didn't use that word. He admitted that changes were necessary, but the Rams still had elite-level players at important positions. Therefore, according to Snead, this wasn't a tear it down and rebuild, but rather a strategic adjustment. And to make that happen, Snead had to make the toughest decisions any GM can face, saying goodbye to stars. Jalen Ramsey, one of the best defensive players in the league, was traded to the Dolphins for just a 3rd-round pick. Bobby Wagner, Leonard Floyd, Allen Robinson, and several other veterans were released or allowed to walk. Von Miller had already been let go in the previous free agency period. The Rams had no choice. They had to accept the pain now, to clear the cap and survive later. Even after the roster purge, the Rams still couldn't spend big. Demarcus Robinson was the only notable free agent they managed to sign. But Los Angeles entered the 2023 NFL Draft armed with 14 picks, a treasure chest built largely from compensatory selections. This would become the opening movement of Snead's true rebuild. And just as many expected, he didn't waste a single opportunity. The Rams' first pick of the 2023 NFL Draft came at number 36 overall, Steve Avila, a powerful, rock-steady interior lineman. He didn't just step into the role they drafted him for, He owned it. Avila became the only Rams player to log every single offensive snap throughout the season, a rare feat for any rookie, let alone one in the trenches. By year's end, he earned a spot on the Pro Football Writers Association All-Rookie team. And this was only the beginning. Round 3 is where Les Snead's vision truly came into focus. He selected edge rusher Byron Young out of Tennessee and defensive tackle Kobe Turner from Wake Forest. Both players didn't just contribute, they flashed, they produced, and they earned spots on the All-Rookie team. That meant Snead opened the 2023 draft with 3 straight selections, and all 3 became standout rookies. Young's emergence was especially meaningful because that pick came from the Jalen Ramsey trade, a perfect example of the Rams turning a tough situation into an opportunity. But more importantly, Snead understood something crucial. The Rams would eventually have to face life after Aaron Donald. When Donald retired, it wouldn't just be the loss of a player. It would be the loss of someone who impacted games like 2 players in one. That's how massive his presence was. Which is why Turner became such a perfectly calculated piece of the puzzle. A young interior talent who could learn directly from Donald, absorb his habits, and eventually take over as the new anchor of the defense. And Turner backed up every bit of that vision. He tied the franchise's rookie sack record with 9, matching the mark set by Donald himself. It wasn't just symbolic. It was a sign. The future of the Rams' defensive line was already taking shape. But the biggest explosion of the Rams' 2023 draft didn't come in the top rounds. It came in round 5. Pick number 177, Puka Nacua. And within just 2 weeks of NFL action, it was obvious. This wasn't a normal rookie. This wasn't a project pick. This was a star being born in real time. In his NFL debut, Nacua caught 10 of 15 targets for 119 yards. Week 2. He topped it, 20 targets, 15 catches, 147 yards. A meteoric rise. A phenomenon. A player who didn't just arrive in the league. He kicked the door down and announced himself to the entire NFL. By season's end, Puka Nacua wasn't just a great rookie. He was a record breaker. He shattered the NFL's all-time rookie marks for receptions and receiving yards. 105 catches, 1,486 yards. A Pro Bowl nod. Second-team All-Pro. And a loud, undeniable message to everyone who shrugged at pick number 177. They were dead wrong. And just like that, in a draft without a first-round pick, Les Snead walked away with 4 legitimate young stars. Avila, Young, Turner, and Nacua, plus several key depth pieces to round out the roster. That's how you rebuild a team, without tearing it all down. And the results of that remarkable draft class showed up immediately. In 2023, the Rams were no longer the battered, injury-riddled team from the year before. They bounced back to a 10-7 record and punched their ticket to the playoffs. Even though their run ended against the Detroit Lions in a tightly contested showdown, the entire vibe around the franchise had shifted. The Rams were no longer seen as a team broken after the Super Bowl. They were suddenly young, dynamic, and legitimately dangerous. A roster full of hungry playmakers and rising stars. A team that wasn't rebuilding, but reloading. One of the biggest reasons the Rams bounced back so quickly was the meteoric rise of their young trio, Byron Young, Kobe Turner, and Puka Nacua. Young and Turner closed out the season with a combined 17 sacks and 110 pressures, the most by a rookie duo since 2018. They weren't just filling roles, they were disrupting entire game plans. And Puka, he was simply unguardable, a matchup nightmare from week 1 to week 18. Add in the fact that Matthew Stafford proved he could still play elite football when given real protection, and suddenly, the Rams didn't look like a rebuilding team at all. They looked like a rising threat. A team with a young core that could hit fast forward on the turnaround. But then the 2024 offseason delivered a major shock. Aaron Donald announced his retirement. After 10 years of dominating the NFL, with 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards, 8 first-team All-Pro selections, and 10 Pro Bowls, Donald said goodbye. You can't replace him. No one can. Donald was the kind of player every opponent had to build an entire game plan around. But interestingly, the Rams had prepared for this moment long before, and they didn't try to find another Aaron Donald. Instead, They continued investing heavily in the defensive line in the 2024 NFL Draft. Their first-round pick in 8 years, Jared Verse, a powerful pass rusher. In the second round, they added Braden Fisk, Verse's former teammate at Florida State. This duo made an immediate impact. Fisk led the team with 8.5 sacks in his rookie season, while Verse showed every sign of being a future superstar despite recording only 4.5 sacks. In 2 consecutive draft classes, the Rams rebuilt their entire defensive line, shifting from relying on Aaron Donald to assembling a young, balanced, high-energy group that can grow together for years to come. But they didn't stop at strengthening the defense. The Rams continued laying the foundation for the future in the 2024 NFL Draft. In the 3rd round, they selected Blake Corum, a running back known for his versatility and consistency, perfectly suited to Sean McVay's offensive philosophy. After that, they drafted safety Cameron Kinchens, who quickly proved to be a major steal by playing exceptionally well in the second half of the season. With Kinchens and Cam Curl, a key addition from free agency, the Rams now possess one of the most solid safety duos in the NFL. The 6th-round picks also delivered plenty of pleasant surprises. Kicker Joshua Carty became a reliable option, interior lineman Bose Limmer added valuable depth on the inside, and wide receiver Jordan Whittington unexpectedly broke out, good enough to earn an all-rookie spot. With that, across just the 2023 to 2024 seasons, the Rams collected a total of 7 all-rookie players. This is exactly the formula for building a long-term powerhouse. Multiple young talents emerging at the same time and developing together. But for the entire plan to run smoothly, the Rams needed to protect Matthew Stafford, who, even at age 36, was still firing passes sharp as a razor. That's why they spent big to acquire guard Jonah Jackson on a 3-year, $51 million contract. Kevin Dotson was also re-signed on a long-term deal to maintain stability on the interior. A near-perfect 2024 offseason for Snead and the Rams. Even so, the start of the 2024 season was anything but easy. The Rams entered their Week 6 bye with a 1-4 record, partly because both Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp were dealing with injuries. But then something remarkable happened. Once the roster got healthy, the Rams switched to monster mode. They won 9 of their remaining 12 games, finished the season 10-7, and claimed the NFC West title. In the wild card round, they crushed the Minnesota Vikings before falling in the divisional round to the team that eventually won the championship, the Philadelphia Eagles. Even in defeat, the message was clear. The Rams didn't just come back. They're rising faster than anyone expected. Unlike the turbulent 2024 offseason, the summer of 2025 brought a rare sense of stability to the Rams. No more shocks like losing Aaron Donald, no more worries about having to overhaul the roster. For the first time in years, LA entered an offseason without losing a single cornerstone player. This opened the perfect opportunity for them to add the final pieces, fine-tuning details rather than making life-or-death decisions. The first piece was a blockbuster, Davante Adams. One of the most dangerous wide receivers in the NFL, a true touchdown machine, and most importantly, an ideal partner for Puka Nacua. Adams, now 32, was still performing at an elite level. With Cooper Kupp declining due to age and injuries, Adams represented a clear upgrade. From the moment he arrived in LA, the Rams instantly possessed one of the most terrifying WR duos in the league. On defense, the Rams added Poona Ford, one of the league's top run-stuffers, capable of patching the gaps Donald once covered in run defense. Ford's presence not only stabilized the front line but also provided invaluable experience to young defensive linemen like Verse, Fisk, Turner, and Young. The blend of youth and experience is becoming the Rams' new formula for success. The linebacker position was also handled neatly when LA signed Caden Ellis. But the bigger surprise was the arrival of Nate Landman, considered an under-the-radar addition. Landman exploded immediately. 90 tackles through 11 weeks, 1.5 sacks, 4 pass breakups, and 4 forced fumbles, one of the most complete linebacker performances of the 2025 season. Matthew Stafford also received an improved contract, fitting for the level of play he continues to maintain. And left tackle Alaric Jackson, the man protecting Stafford's blind side, was retained on a long-term deal. The core structure was complete. Then came the 2025 draft, where Snead once again showed his brilliance. He traded the 26th pick in exchange for the Falcons' 2026 first-rounder, a move that is quickly becoming highly profitable as the Falcons are playing terribly in 2025. Trading pick 26 for a pick that could end up in the top 10, maybe even top 5? Snead is performing magic again. Even after trading down, the Rams still grabbed the player they absolutely loved, Terrence Ferguson at pick 46. Sean McVay even openly stated that his staff had Ferguson rated much higher than where he was selected. With smooth route running, ideal size, and natural catching instincts, Ferguson quickly became another weapon in LA's already dangerous offensive system. The rest of the draft class was small but solid. Josiah Stewart and Jarquez Hunt were standout additions, providing depth and potential for the defensive unit. And just like that, after 2 turbulent years, Snead's rebuilding plan wrapped up perfectly. The lingering effects of the all-in 2021 strategy, salary cap debt, lack of draft picks, and loss of roster depth have now been resolved. The Rams rebuilt a roster stacked with young talent, especially a completely new defensive line after the Donald era. And most importantly, their offense is in a ready-to-explode state. And then, the 2025 season began. Matthew Stafford, at age 37, is playing the best football of his career since the 2021 Super Bowl season. Through 11 weeks, he leads the NFL with 27 touchdowns and just 2 interceptions, MVP-level numbers. Puka Nacua continues to prove he's far more than just a rookie-year phenomenon. With 850 yards and 4 TDs, he remains one of the toughest receivers to cover in the league. Meanwhile, Davante Adams has turned the red zone into his personal playground. 10 touchdowns in 10 games, flat out insane. Together with Karen Williams, a steady, intelligent running back, they form an offensive quartet that's nearly impossible to stop. The result, the Rams averaged 27.2 points per game, ranking 6th in the NFL. And the wild part is, that's only half the story. Their defense is even more dominant. Second in the NFL in points allowed, just 17.2 per game. Byron Young has exploded with 9 sacks in just 10 games. Jared Verse, Josiah Stewart, and Jalen McCullough contribute consistently. The constant pressure from the defensive line lets the secondary feast. Players like Emmanuel Forbes, Cam Curl, Cameron Kinchens, and Kobe Durant each have 2 interceptions. Quinton Lake, one of the biggest surprises of the season, has also been massively important. In summary, the 2025 Rams are becoming one of the most complete and dangerous teams in the NFL, from offense to defense. What makes their 2025 journey special isn't just the results, but how they achieve them. This was a team once considered finished, expected to collapse after Aaron Donald's retirement, after Stafford's contract became a burden, after stars left and the roster looked patched together. But instead of falling into a multi-year rebuilding cycle like so many others, they were reborn almost instantly. The key: a combination of coaching stability with McVay and the boldness of GM Les Snead. This duo has never been afraid of big decisions, letting Donald walk, purging the roster, gambling on rookie classes, then going partially all-in again with Davante Adams. And the astonishing thing is, every recent decision they've made has been right. McVay has evolved his offensive system in a way few coaches can, blending timing concepts with power running, structuring routes so both Nacua and Adams can maximize their skill sets, and turning Stafford back into a top-tier quarterback even as he approaches 40. Snead, meanwhile, has crafted a defense that's young, fast, strong, yet still remarkably stable. The result: a Rams team firmly in the NFL's top tier, viewed as a legitimate Super Bowl contender. And this comes from a rare balance: an explosive offense, a disciplined and high-pressure defense, stable special teams, and real roster depth, something they lacked badly in 2022 to 2023. But most importantly, the Rams are building a sustainable future. They own the Falcons' first-round pick, likely top 5, they have a rapidly developing young core, and they've built continuity in team culture, what McVay calls competitive maturity. The 2025 Rams are no longer a win-now team sacrificing the future. This is a team that can compete for a Super Bowl immediately, and still has a bright future stretching for years to come. From the depths of 2023 to a 2025 championship contender, this is one of the fastest, smartest, and most effective rebuilds in modern NFL history. If you find the Rams' resurrection journey as crazy and exciting as we do, don't forget to leave a like for this video. Comment your thoughts. Will the Rams make it to the 2025 Super Bowl? And remember to subscribe plus turn on notifications so you don't miss the next NFL analysis videos.